Hi fight fans, welcome back again to another episode of the African Fighters. And on today's episode, we'll be giving you a roundup of everything happening in the world of combat sports. Stay with us. Alright, UFC fighter Themba Gorimbo has decided to auction off his fight gear for a noble cause. The 32-year-old was in action this past weekend at UFC Fight Night, Dan vs Hill, against UFC veteran Takeshi Sato. This was Gorimbo's first win inside the octagon. Following his maiden UFC win, Themba has decided to auction off his fight gear, and proceedings will be used to install a water pump back in his home village in Zimbabwe. The UFC welterweight took to his social media to announce this after posting several screenshots of the cost of getting a water pump back in his hometown in Zimbabwe. The fight kick was eventually bought by the UAE Warriors and the proceeds used to begin the project. More recently, Themba has announced the closing of the gym that he has self-financed over the years in South Africa. He explained that financing the gym by himself has affected him and his family, and that he would not be able to afford to keep the gym running moving forward. He thanked everyone who has supported him on the journey and pleaded with fans to understand his decision. UFC middleweight star Dricus du Plessis has reiterated his comment on himself and Cameron being the only UFC fighters who reside in Africa.
More African, I never said those words. Myself and Cameron, we are the only one. Not more, the only.
This comes few days after Themba Gorimbo made history by being the first man from Zimbabwe to win in the UFC. Themba in several interviews has expressed his displeasure with the statement, stating that he had met Dricus on several occasions and that Dricus was aware of his journey into the UFC. Themba, in a recent interview with the African Fighters, also expressed his displeasure with the comment and explained that it was a tad disrespectful to him. He also made claims to the fact that Israel Adesanya will always be a bigger inspiration to people across Africa compared to Dricus, stating that Dricus' path, while valid, does not necessarily embody the struggles that an average African kid has to endure.
He was entitled to his own opinion when he said what he said, and everybody supported him, and everybody knew I was also in the UFC. And I don't have anything against Dricus. I wish him nothing but the best. But I was also in the UFC, fighting in the UFC, living and breathing the African air here in Africa. Also rubs me. I'm African, I live here, bro. Like if someone says that about you and you know that you're African, you're in the UFC, and people are trying to change this whole narrative, go read what he said. As far as I know, myself and Cameroon are the only Africans who live and train, breathe the African air in Africa.
In the interview with EFC, Dricus also spoke about his love for the professionalism of Whittaker and gave his take on the expected outcome of the fight between the pair. Boxing fans have wanted to see Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford compete to see who is the better fighter for over a while. They teased squaring off against one another, but the deal was never made official until today. Spence Jr. and Crawford revealed on their social media accounts that the fight is set and will take place on July the 29th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. The bouts will unify the welterweight championships with the WBA, the WBC, the IBF and the WBO belts all up for grabs. The fight was rumored to be taking place earlier this year. However, negotiations seemed like it had failed when ESPN's Mike Coppinger reported on January the 10th that the premier boxing champions were trying to have Spence Jr. take on Keith Thurman in April. When Jon Jones decided he was ready to make the move to heavyweight in early 2020, the then light heavyweight champion Kingpin was awaiting any possible combination of Miocic, Ngannou and Cormier, with the latter quickly removed from the equation. Jones began his bulking while Miocic and Ngannou had their rematch in March 2021. All the talk began for a Jones mega fight, but terms ultimately could never be reached on multiple occasions, leading to Ngannou vs Gane and Jones vs Gane, as we just saw. Familiar with both men inside the octagon and following the heavyweight division a bit closer, Daniel Cormier believes it's time to be concerned about if the fight between Stipe and Jon Jones would ever take place.
It's exactly what happened whenever Francis Ngannou and Jon Jones was like the talk of the town, and all of a sudden it started to shift. Because we as humans, we have short attention spans, and there's something that way. I look and I'm gone. We have got to, guys, Stipe Miocic and Jon Jones, we've got to make this happen.
It doesn't appear that the uncertainty surrounding former UFC heavyweight champion Stipe Miocic's return to action is going to dissipate anytime soon. During a recent interview with former UFC heavyweight fighter Brandon Schaub, Chael Sonnen revealed the latest he heard regarding plans for Jon Jones' title defense. In his words, he said, "I'm hearing strong rumors. Stipe and Jones is going to go up in flames, and Sergey Pavlovich versus Jones is happening in August." Sonnen said, "I'm hearing strong rumors on that, strong enough that I can tell you that it's at least being pursued. I don't know where they are in the agreement, but that is at least being pursued." Sonnen also pointed to the possibility of Jones and Pavlovich headlining the promotion's return to Sydney the following month. Alright, the Gypsy King recently took to Instagram to respond to UFC President Dana White's recent comments on potentially booking a fight between him and Jon Jones. Fury once again made it clear that he has no interest in stepping into an octagon. Instead, if Jones wants to lock on with Fury, he will have to do so in boxing gloves for the first time in his illustrious combat career.
I see Jon Jones has piped up. John, you're talking about me in a cage. I'm not a cage fighter, mate. I'm a boxer. The best boxer, actually. So if you want to come into a boxing ring and fight me, be my guest. Let me know. You don't have to call anybody else. No Danas, nobody. You call me. Because it's a boxing fight and I'm the boss in this game. Me. You're a great fighter, John. But you're definitely no boxer, and that's for sure. All the best. Good luck.
The Gypsy King was also spotted having a laugh with UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya as the latter teased him about getting into the octagon. Surging MMA contenders Marcos Almeida and Rogue Umar Kane have been targeting the match with each other for quite some time. And at One Fight Night 13 on Prime Video, they will finally step into the circle. The two heavyweights were originally scheduled to face one another in 2021 and then in 2022, but injuries prevented the colossal showdown from happening. But now, with both men healthy, the duo will finally throw down in one of the most anticipated heavyweight battles of the year. The Senegalese wrestling champion Kane is a massive fighter who started his career with the Aries FC, then immediately jumped to one championship. His first 3 fights all ended without going the full distance, but cardio issues were exposed in a loss to Grinchenko when Rogue failed to answer the bell for the 3rd round. Rogue has also announced that this will be his final fight in his contract with one championship, stating that it is their loss and not his via his Instagram account. Former UFC featherweight and lightweight champion Conor McGregor has been spotted flaunting the Super Eagles jersey while riding a bicycle around the city of Dublin. The main reason for Conor McGregor donning the Super Eagles jersey is still unclear, and fans have come up with several narratives. Some say the jersey is by far the most attractive football jersey in the world. Others believe he is looking for a battle against Nigerian UFC fighter Kamaru Usman, who stated that he will be open to fighting against Conor McGregor sometime in the future. Alright, that's it from us. Thanks for listening. Leave your comments in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next episode.
Come on, Africans!